G'day guys, welcome to the latest episode of Beyond Tape, a podcast that focuses on people doing rad things in the mountain bike industry. That's media, riding, training, event management, whatever. In this episode, we are chatting with an OG legend of the sport, a little bit of an unknown, but he's done a bunch. Mitch Delfs hails from WA. He is one of the OG Vanzacks, one of the OG World Cup races. He's been on teams with Nathan Rennie. He's been on teams with Leineken, like Matthew Dupel. He's been around the world and done a lot of things. So we chat about a bunch of stuff, but mainly his World Cup racing experience. Before we delve too deep into this podcast, let me thank some sponsors that keep this thing going. First off the bat is Trek Bikes. Trek offer some of the best bikes in the world. I'm absolutely loving my Slash, but man, sometimes like a mid-90s raver, I would like some E in my life. And the new Trek Rail 9 is one of the best looking e-bikes on the market. I might be a little bit biased, but hot damn, this thing looks sexy. It's got modern geo numbers, like a head angle of around 65 degrees, super long reach, super stable platform with a bunch of power from the Bosch motor and a ton of exploring to be done with a nice big battery. So head over to trek.com.au and check out the Trek Rail because it's an absolute beast. NS Dynamics are Australia's premier servicing company when it comes to suspension. Their hyper performance service is $225 to $250, so an absolute bargain, and you get a full factory service. But instead of using the normal friction seals, they use low friction seals, premium quality oils and lubrications, and they just make your fork feel better than new. They can also do the same for your rear shock. So for $200 to $250, you can get your bike feeling better than new. Doing this every 6 to 12 months is an absolute must and will keep your bike running prime and save you spending thousands of dollars on a new fork because you didn't service it. So hit up NS Dynamics and get those guys to sort you out. Lead Out Sports are now the Australian distributor for Unite Co. components, a brand that is doing very, very custom, very, very cool things with CNC machined alloy. So cranks, bars, stems, chain rings, you name it, they have got it. And man, any color under the sun and the stuff looks beautiful. So make sure you hit up Lead Out Sports or hit up your local store and get some Unite Co. stuff in. Tailored Trails offer some of the best tailored trails or tailored trips down in Tassie. Give them an email, you tell them what you want to do, how many of you going, you get full shuttle service, full accommodation package, they will sort everything out. So basically all you have to do is rock up and ride. Sounds like an absolute dream to me. So make sure you hit those guys up for your next Tassie trip. Franked offers some of the best clothing for an absolute bargain. I've said it again and I'll keep on saying it. The pants are absolutely amazing. But as we come into the warm weather, I'm throwing on the shorts again. These shorts have 3 pockets, so you can put enough stuff in there to keep you riding. Super tough, super flexible, and they're quite a light material, so you barely feel like you're wearing anything. Now, it's amazing value, but if you want even better value, make sure you use the code BeyondTheTape10 at checkout and get 10% off of anything you'd like over at frank.com.au. The same goes for dirt surfers. Use Beyond the Tape at checkout and you'll get one of their 100% recycled, 100% recyclable custom mud guards or one of their own designs. Absolutely love the Dirt Surfers mud guard. I just finished up a fresh design with them, so that will be going on the merch store soon. If your bike does end up getting a bit muddy and is a bit under the weather, make sure you hit up Crush and get some of their amazing products that will keep your bike looking clean, running better, and shining better than ever. So make sure you hit those guys up. And man, fist gloves, these things are so damn comfortable. As we get in the warmer weather, I am wearing the more breathable breezer gloves, lightweight top section, and then a thinner palm with perforated patches in it so that the air just flows through. It's a breeze, really. Again, use Beyond the Tape at checkout and get a sweet discount there as well. That's enough of my rambling for this intro. As I said, we've got Mitch Delfs on board, a bunch of cool stories, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. So as per usual, grab a beer, grab a water, grab a wine, grab whatever makes you happy, and enjoy. They're super loud, aren't they? Like I haven't been in one.
Yeah, super loud. We've got like double ear protection, and like you rock up and it's just like it's pretty cool though, like going out to the platforms like proper offshore, and you're just like 50 k's in the ocean and you're just like, whoa. This is mad.
Is that just like on one of those big like pontoon things? Like that just floats there.
Yeah, they got like where the one we've got actually goes to the bottom, so it's like a fixed platform.
Yeah.
But then there's like one right next to the island that I'm on, and that's like semi-submersible, so that sort of floats around.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. Like the amount of money's out there, it's insane.
And I've heard of I've spoken to people that have done like underwater, like welding and shit for that type of thing, and it's just
man, that's next level.
The money, but like just the stuff they have to go through is maybe not worth it sometimes in my eyes.
I don't reckon the deep sea divers, surely that's not worth it.
No.
Because you got to like decompress for like, fuck how long, you know? 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to spend like 3 months or something down there. And like, yeah, it's fucked. Makes my job seem easy.
I know, I'm just cruising. I got a screwdriver. I'm just relaxed.
Is that your tool bag? You just got one driver in there?
One screwdriver. Little terminal in the top pocket. You're like, I'm here.
Yeah. Have you been doing that long?
Not really. Like pretty much when I finished riding, I just got lucky and got an apprenticeship. Kind of like knew at the end of that, like knew where I wanted to go. So I just did like the instrumentation course, and then finished my apprenticeship, did the instrumentation, and then got onto the mines, and then did all the hazardous area stuff, and sort of had a bit of a goal. And yeah, once I got there, like took a while, like got delayed with COVID, but once I got to the oil and gas sort of sector, I was like, fuck, this is pretty good. Good roster, good coin, and it's just like a bit more relaxed compared to the iron ore. But yeah, I've only been doing it for like since 2000. Sparky since I was like 5 years now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sick.
Took a little bit, but late bloomer.
Yeah. No, you just got distracted by bikes for half your life.
I know. It's a quick 10 years.
Yeah, it was, pretty much was. I've just been looking at Roots and Rain and stuff and looking at your results, and yeah.
Took a big chunk of my life away, that's for sure.
You happy to jump straight in and get on with this?
Yeah, mate. Happy as.
Sure. Sick. Well, yeah, Mitch Delfs, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
For those who kind of don't know who you are, and there might be a few of them out there, but can you give us a brief overview and of who you are and what you've kind of done?
Yeah, well, I guess like all the young bucks now probably wouldn't remember me, but yeah, I used to race bikes and was a professional for like, I guess, nearly 10 years, and raced the World Cups, did all the nationals, and just, got my way up onto a team and just gradually got overseas and raced and sort of, lived the dream for a bit. Well, it was my dream anyway, but lived it for a bit. And then, just came a time when I had to pull the pin and go a different direction. But, yeah, that's pretty much it, in a nutshell.
So what age did you kind of start racing? Because you don't look that old right now. And I mean, your first UCI World Cup was in 2006, right? Like,
yeah. When I started racing, I was like the first sort of race I started quite late, like compared to what all the kids are now. Like I was probably 13, 14 when I first got like a mountain bike. So pretty much as, probably like the same as most people, like get the bike. I really wanted a moto, but the parents were like, nah, not happening. So I guess second best thing, mountain bike with some suspension.
Yeah.
All was pretty cool back in the day, and we pretty much got this hardtail. Like I can't even remember what it was called. I think it was called like a Coyote or something.
Yeah,
with
right.
like
Yeah.
crazy shitty front suspension. And we bought it off this dude, and he was just like, "Man, you should like go into this race in Bunbury." And we we're like, "What? What do you mean a mountain bike race? What's that?" And yeah, just gradually went from there. It was a cross country race, which I absolutely hated. I was like, I will not be doing that again. As like a 13, 14-year-old, you know.
Dude, I think there's plenty of adults that would say the same thing now. Just kind of race an elite or an XC race and you're just blown out the door.
I know, yeah. So that was a bit of an eye-opener. But then when we were at that race, obviously, like a guy was like, "Oh, you should try this downhill." You know, like, "Oh, what the hell's downhill?" Like, yeah, as a kid. Parents were pretty good as they were like pretty, you know, they encouraged it. They were like, "Yeah, let's go check it out." And then literally just did the first race at Dwellingup. It was like a state round, rocked up with a hardtail, you know, like wearing like the big full protection gear, like helmet, no goggles, just
full day knee suit
on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I rocked up to that, I was just like looking at everyone's bike with these massive triple clamps, big shocks, you know, like you just like the old foes and just the oranges and like just those old school bikes. And I was like, whoa, like big demo, what are the demo 8 or something?
Yeah, it must have been.
Guys, with the small wheel at the back.
Yeah, or big hit.
Yeah, the big hit, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, man, just seeing all that stuff for the first time, I was like, whoa, this is insane. And then this huge log jump. I think there's one of the OG guys like Ben Shingler and all the Bell brothers and sort of that whole crew were just hitting this huge log jump, and that was it, me hooked. I was like, whoa, like you're kidding me. And then, just went to every other race after that and continued on.
Was that like your first experience of seeing what was capable on a bike? Because there was no socials or no internet or anything back then.
No, there was no internet, no social rides. It was just literally we rocked up, just rocked up, walked up the hill and saw what these guys were doing on a bike. And it was just, you're just like, holy shit. And that's just like, as a young kid looking at these guys, like you're just like wide-eyed. You're like, whoa. And then, from then just we went to every other race after that and gradually, just, moved up the ranks a little bit. But, just the first time seeing these guys doing what they can do on a bike, I was really impressed, especially back then,
Yeah, what was the scene like back then for you guys?
Yeah, WA, I feel like when we were coming up through the ranks, the scene was really good. Like it was pumping, it felt like it was pumping probably because we were real young, but it was real busy. Like Peel Downhill had all the races. There was obviously Sam Hill was racing World Cups and everyone was sort of like, he was the god back in WA. Like, look at this guy can do. But the scene was good. It was pumping, 100, 150 people. But, we're talking WA doesn't have big mountains, so everyone was just loving like the 1 minute and a half. If we got a 2-minute track, you'll be like, whoa.
That's
but
insane.
It used to pump. The scene was good. Everyone was like, it was a good vibe, good weekend. Everyone just hanging out and like enjoying it. Like the race was just a good social aspect of it.
It's always perplexed me how like fast guys come from WA because there's no mountains there. Like
there's nothing. I don't understand it. I don't know. The only theory I got is our tracks are so short that we try and jam pack as much as we can in them.
Yeah, okay.
So there's not even like a half second of you sort of relaxing. It's just like turn, jump, boost, rocks, like bang, 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 minute, gone.
It's just like flat out and you got nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just going for it. Like from out of the gate to when you finish to the finish line, you're just like, whoa, what the hell did I even do?
Was that what kept you addicted like throughout? Like you obviously did that first race, but what kind of kept you going?
I think it's like any kid, like you do a sport and like the first race I absolutely sucked. I think I got like, under, whatever you call it, under 17s or something or under 15s. And I got like nearly last because it was all muddy and crazy. But like I was just like, whoa. And then we tried the next race and then that next race I got like second. And then I think that result was just literally like, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
Like I just want to win, And it was good at the time with like the competition we had, like when we were growing up, because we had like the OG, like Ben Bell and Joel Bain was all in sort of my age bracket.
Okay. Yeah.
So we had three of us that were like sort of moving up at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben Bell was just like, years and years ahead of us with skill and speed. So he was kind of like the guy we were chasing.
Yeah,
whereas
right.
like Bell were like sort of win, lose first, second, third, So that was a pretty healthy little battle, I reckon. And that was probably what sort of drove us both, all three of us, to really, I feel like we sort of all egged each other on and like, you wanted to beat them, but like you were like pumped that three West Aussies were sort of going to the nationals and doing quite well. So the competition was healthy, I agree, I think.
I think that's a big part of why you have successful people coming out of places is that good competition around you. Like we see it in Adelaide with like Troy and Connor and even a few people after that, like they were competing against each other for so long and everyone was building each other up and that's what helped more than the tracks maybe.
Yeah, 100%. I think the tracks definitely, I could say, were not as crazy as what like East Coast have, like, the Mount Beauty boys. And I guess Adelaide's pretty similar. Like when we go there, you got the Will Rishbeth and like obviously Troy Brosnan, which he's on another level at the moment. But Troy and Connor, like they come out of nowhere. They were young kids, and then all of a sudden they were just smashing you.
Yeah.
What the hell happened?
Yeah, and like Will Rishbeth as well. You would have raced with him on a team at some point.
Yeah, man. I good friends with Will. He's absolute legend of a bloke, and we travelled together a lot. We did like the junior thing, and with Joshy B as well, like that whole crew. And then me and Will ended up on a team together, that Lex pivot team with a good friend of ours, Matty DePel, which you've probably heard of, and he's still with Connor doing the forbidden stuff. He's quite a legend amongst men in the mountain bike world.
100%. Yeah, all the time in the world for Matty.
But we travelled together. It was good. We'll look after you. He's a good dude.
He is a good guy. Very, very good guy. Can ride a bike as well.
Can ride a bike for a big horse, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. 9 feet tall, but can corner like a 3 foot tall guy. It's ridiculous.
I still remember his his run at Valli Hoel, I think, back in the day when he was wearing that the blow up vest, the RXR vest.
Yeah, right.
And he comes down the last chute, Valli Hoel, your hands are just done by the time you're going down that last chute. And then he like does this huge like rails the turn before like you cross the bridge before the step down. And he just does this wheelie tap across the like this turn when you're trying to rail. He wheelie taps it and like lands in it. And I was just like, oh my God, what an animal.
His ability to kind of control a bike without the front wheel touching the ground is ridiculous.
Oh, it's unreal, man. The height, unreal guy to watch on a bike. Impressive.
Yeah, very, very impressive. And still is, like, still comes out to a local race and will just blow people's minds.
Yeah, on his e-bike, he's killing it, man. Love it. Love to see it.
What was it? So you competed in a few nationals and stuff like that at that point, and there was probably a good national series. But how was it traveling from WA like across to Vic and across the East Coast? And
it was
junior.
as a junior as well. Yeah, it was a nightmare, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
It's so hard it's so much harder for WA people. I don't know what anyone else would think, but man, we have it so tough. Like we got to fly, just to buy the flight. It's a 5-hour flight just to get to a race, and then like get the car. Whereas everyone else is sort of at home, they can just get in the car and drive to these things. So yeah, for us, like some of the races I rocked up, I'd get like for me to get the Threadbow one. So I was like rocked up, got the bus, dragged my bike onto the bus. Rock up at the Threadbow, drag my bike box up to the, the hostels and just stay in this 4-man room with like random people and just try and do this race.
Yeah.
Because it's not much support. Like my parents came out a few times, which was good. Like you couldn't do it without them, obviously, but just that whole travel part of it was huge. So it made like the racing, like, when you rock up, it was a big deal. You're like, man, this has to be worth something. Like I have to do good sort of thing. There was a bit of pressure on it.
Yeah,
bit
because
more
if you're
pressure than
spending all that time and all that money to get there.
yeah, time, money, just resources just to get there. And then like if you go there and have like a crash during your race run, you're just like, oh my God, what a way. Especially as a junior when you think like the only thing you're thinking about in your whole life is just to make that junior squad. That's like pretty much your whole drive. And you think it's the end of the world if you're not going to make it. But, you know, at that point in time, your mindset, that's all you care about, you know, which is sad to see. Like there's no national series now. And I don't even know how the juniors get selected. Like it's all over the shop because a young kid from Margs, like Gus Kime, was Oceania champ and he didn't even get selected. I thought that was like an automatic Aussie selection for juniors.
No, that got changed the week before Oceanias.
Oh, who makes these rules up just willy-nilly?
Oh, dude, it was, because Nationals and Oceanias were supposed to be the mandatory races.
Yeah.
But
that's
Nationals Nationals stayed as a mandatory, but Oceanias wasn't. So and it got changed like the week before or something.
Yeah, so like I said, you know, like these kids are like spending all this money to try and get over there, and then Oceanias is like it's a non-race. Like, why would you go? Why spend the money? Like, surely, I don't know. I just heard sort of the background story of it all, and I was like, what the hell is wrong with them?
It's pretty hard. Like, I think I've said this before, but I looked at 2019, I think, and if you were an elite level racer without a team, or moving to Europe, there was impossible for you to get to World Cup. Points-wise. It's ridiculous. Other than getting the national jersey from.
I know, like, where's all the support going? You know, like we had like Paul Begg, like, you know, like the best man alive. You know, he was just the ultimate friend and rider and coach. Like him coming in after Scott Sharples, like they were like the best years of our lives. You know, traveling with him, like in the bus doing like racing after racing. Just staying in a big group of lads racing as a junior, like you can't think of anything better to prepare, and like a life experience as well. It just seems like there's no support, like they've sort of just disappeared from it, or I don't know what they're thinking, how they're going to support the juniors again, or it's kind of just left to the side, you know. And look at the French now; they're just annihilating it.
And because they're like brought up, like they're born on a bike pretty much, and they have to race XC. They have to race enduro, like they have to race everything. It's such a perfect program.
Oh, and it shows with the results, you know. And it showed back in the day with the Australian, but there was a few of us, and now it seems like the numbers are dwindling.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this year will change. Like this next year, I think there's going to be a big like influx of really fast juniors. I just got a feeling, but where they go from there, I don't know.
Yeah, they're going to have to move.
Yeah, pretty much.
Move to Europe.
What was the selection criteria for you? So did you get on the world's team?
We were lucky enough to, the first year when we did all the nationals, it was just like you do the nationals and Scott Sharples was there and he was on the side of the track, you know, scoping you out. So you could do good in like your qualifying and then have a crash, but he's like, oh man, like I see like you got potential, sort of like more face-to-face kind of like contact with someone. Yeah. And he can tell you like what to do. And the criteria was just like, you know, just do good at the nationals. National champs was obviously number one. And then just get seen at some of the other races, you know, like the Oceanias was a big one as well.
Yeah.
But that first year with everyone, he sort of did, I think it was like 7 of us got picked, and then we all went on like a camp and we all went overseas.
Yeah, sick.
So that was like, as soon as we did good at nationals, like I think I did really pretty average the first year and luckily got selected. And then we went to the US. So it was kind of like, you know, like there was a bit of form to it. You just do this to do that, go overseas, get the experience, come back, do worlds, and then sort of like progress from there. But the criteria, you know, like it was just I guess get noticed.
Do well, yeah. Get noticed by Scott Sharples.
Get noticed and win nationals.
Getting noticed by Scott Sharples would be hard. He's a tough man to please.
Yeah, definitely. He's a knowledgeable guy. He definitely. It's funny how he worked his way with the junior thing, and then he sort of like took a step back and did more like company man stuff with like Intense and a few other brands. But he was a good coach to have. He had like obviously good success with Emil and Sam and Rennie and Ben Corey and the whole twilight years of Australia just dominating.
It's pretty hard to find a rider that him or Begsy haven't been a part of their racing career.
Yeah.
From modern time, like up until now, probably. Like they've all been coached.
It's true. It's because that program was so good. It was so much fun. Like, man, some of the memories. Yes.
I'm sure you guys are like, oh, PG didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. Who was on that junior team with you? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think the first year we had we obviously had Joel Bain, Ben Bell, I think Malthouse, I think what I forgot. James Maltman, was it? He was like a little pocket rocket man. He used to tear it up. He was dominating nationals. He was the guy to beat.
Yeah, okay.
And then and then it was 3 WA guys on that team in that year when we all went to the States.
Yep.
And that whole year at the States was just horrible for me.
Yeah, right.
That was the worst year ever, I reckon, racing bike. I think it all sort of got to us. Like Ben Bell got on the Yeti team, which was really cool. Like he just got hooked up and he just killed it. Like he just, fell into the sickest team, and we were like, I was like jealous. I'm like, man, how good's his bike? He got like 3-4 bikes just given to him.
Yep.
And then Scotty Sharples was walking around the pits at Fontana, like the first Norba.
Yep.
And he was like asking sponsors to like help out the junior team. So I ended up on like Manitou, Shimano brakes. So I just literally rocked up with my old frame and then just got all these bolts bolted onto it just for Scotty, like word of mouth.
That's so sick.
Which was cool at the time. But then when I when you've been riding the same bike for, let's say, 2 years, just doing junior races and you feel so comfortable on this thing, and then you rock up to Norbers and you get like new forks bolted on, new brakes, new tyres, everything's just foreign. So I think that was a big lesson for me. Like, and I reckon I'll say this to other people, like, go over there with something comfortable. Don't get taken up with all the new gear and just like whack new stuff on just before you try to race and like, potentially impress people. So that whole year I struggled big time. Yeah.
That would have been like a big difference going from WA to Norba around. Like, it was crazy, like how big all the truck setups were, the pits, like even coming from nationals to a Norba around then. And that was like when Norba was dwindling. I think we got the last year of Greg on the Honda, and that was when Greg and Sam were doing Norbas still. Yeah.
And they were just killing it, obviously, but it was sort of on its way down. That's the vibe it was getting, but it's still like all the trucks rocking up, like all the big teams, like kind of like, you just all in the moment. You're like, whoa, how cool is this? Just traveling. I was so like sleeping on Sam. I was traveling with Sam's team. Obviously being a WA lad, he sort of helped us out a fair bit. Sick. And I was sleeping on the floor with Sean Heimdall and JC. I just had my spot on the floor in all their apartments.
Yeah.
Had to go out and get like a little swag thing that had a blow-up pillow.
That's so
I could
good.
Just travel around, yeah.
You got to make it happen though, right? Like
you got to make it happen. Like you got to know your worth when you're on a team like that. You just travel around. Bit of a hindrance, but lucky enough they let me tag along, which was cool,
Was it? It would have been pretty. Like it would have formed you quite well for racing if you're traveling around with Sam.
Yeah, him showing his prep and everything. Like he's just a cool cucumber,
Yeah,
nothing really fazed him at all. Like pissing down with rain at one of the Norbas, like I think one of the North Carolina ones. I don't remember. Yeah, it was just pissing down the rain. I was like, oh, man, how crazy is this? All rocks, slippery rocks everywhere. And he's just like, oh, it's all good, man. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. It's his actual death here. And then you're just like, whatever.
And he just pulls out and wins it.
So good.
I'm just like, come down the hill, crash like 3 times and go back to the pits. And he comes back and he's just won everything.
He's a different type of person. Like you
man.
just can't compare him.
Nah, you don't even bother. Back then, he was just like an absolute animal. Nothing fazed him, winning everything. Couldn't put a foot wrong, you know.
No, he couldn't.
It was good to see.
But you had like good results in 07-ish and stuff. Like you look at your Fort William result at World Champs, like your fourths, and there's quite a few top 20s and stuff. But
yeah, I think definitely coming back from that US trip, I like sort of went over there probably a bit like, what do you call it? Bit of confidence coming back off like a national series.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was my first year as a junior. So you kind of like, oh yeah, you think you're hot shit, but realistically you're just, you know where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know where like people want to like actually pick you up, spend money on you. You know, as a team, you didn't really show much worth. So when I came back from that year, I really put in some work, trained a bit, and like just rode my bike just flat out. Just with my last year juniors, I really wanted to like just, you know, just prove to myself that I was up there with all these international races. So yeah, that year, I think, I come and won the junior national champs that year at Canberra, I think, in 2000, just before I went off in 07.
Yeah,
and
doesn't go back that far.
It's a long time ago, isn't it?
Yeah, internet didn't exist then.
But yeah, like to win that was me just like, yes, you know, like prove to myself. And I had like the Iron Horse bike, all the RockShox stuff and code brakes, and like I just used that same bike for a whole year. And then when I went overseas this time, we made the decision not to do Norbers again.
Okay.
Because it was kind of like I wasn't getting the ride time in. It was like traveling all the time. You rock up to a race, you're not really riding. You just sort of, you know, you're in the zone, you're just racing. So you rock up, do a few laps, do your race run, get in the truck, drive to the next event.
Yeah.
You don't really just get to settle in. So an opportunity come up and I went up to Canada. So I went up to Bromont and did the Canadian National Series and the Quebec Cups.
Yeah, right.
And that was with JP De Silva's team, the dhracer.com, I think. And that was awesome. Like that was probably the best career move, if you could say it at that point when I was just a young teenager, but just the best career move with me rocking up to the hill in Bromont.
Yeah.
Literally, I could roll from the garage straight down the hill onto the chairlift and smash like 10, 15 runs out a day, come back. And then on the weekends, we would go off and do these races. And just that confidence building, that bike time and using my same bike with all the gear that I was used to was like, I felt so good, you know, like coming off, winning a few races obviously helps with confidence. But just doing these local events instead of going out and versing like these top World Cup guys and getting like 20th, 30th, 40th, you know, sort of just getting lost in the mix.
Yeah.
So to come out and do the Canada ones, that was just awesome. Like started winning a few, feeling really good. Like my race speed, race head was good. Like I was never really falling off like I was last year.
Yeah.
So I feel like it just something changed when I was over there. I just felt so good on the bike, and I was like coming into Fort Bill, definitely just felt like way better than when I did the World Champs in, I think it was Rotorua in 06. Yeah. It's like a long time ago now. But I pulled one out of the hat at Rotorua, which was good. But yeah, Fort William, I really went there and I was going there. In my head, I was going there for the win. I knew there was a few top, I think a few of the top dogs were there, like Rory Cunningham, he obviously won it, but he was a good guy. I think Bryce, Bryson? No.
I don't know. I can't remember. I'm trying to find it.
Oh, Josh Bryson, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, Josh Bryson.
Yeah, he was the hot UK kid at the time, so it was all like, oh, man, like we never raced each other, so it was like, oh, what's going on here? I think he ended up with a flat, which probably is a bit of a bummer for him, but yeah. To me there, I felt so good. I was coming in, I was like, yep, I at least want a medal. If not, I want to win. Like that's how like good I felt.
Yeah.
And then my race run, like with the skin suit still, that was the skin suit era.
I was about to say it would have been that era.
which is crazy to think because you're practicing all week in these big baggy, like mountain bike stuff back then. I think it was like all moto gear really that we were using. And then you'd come out and you do your race run in the skin suit. So the first couple of turns, you're going like 5Ks quicker, like way quicker into these turns. So the first couple, you're like, whoa, like I've never gone this quick into these turns. It was stupid to like not practice in the skin suit,
Was it actually that much different?
Oh, it was huge difference. Fort Bill, at the top of the hill where it's all windy. Yeah, you're riding along and you feel the wind pushing you sideways. You're like,
that's ridiculous. But then you throw the skin suit on and it's next level.
Yeah, you're just zipping through like real quick. So to do that, I thought was a bit silly, but that race run was real good, Like I did everything I really wanted to do, but at the bottom I was feeling a bit gassed and like that motorway, I was like pedaling really hard and I like cased the jump and I was like, just struggling,
Imagine
like,
doing it out of the skin suit for that then.
I know, yeah, like pedaling these moto pants with these like crazy leather patches on it for the exhaust.
Yep.
It's so like crazy 2 extremes. It's unreal, eh?
Ridiculous.
But to come in those moto pants, and then to come in the skin suit, you're like, I feel like an animal in this skin suit. So smooth and silky.
Now, do you still have it? Or do you have to give it back?
It's so funny, man. Like, I just came back from work and my mum just dropped off all these boxes of like all my old race jerseys.
Yeah, right.
And a box of skin suits and all my Aussie jerseys from the World Champs.
Yeah, that's sick.
I just had a quick look through there. It was full, like reminiscing a bit, just looking at them all.
Well, I heard of some places like some countries had to give them back, like straight away type thing.
I know. How cheap do you want to be? Can you just wash it and give that back to us?
Yeah. But it's getting pretty close back to the skin suit era now, right? Like
I know what you mean. Like all the gear's looking pretty tight.
It's borderline. Like
it's getting there. Like it's obviously a speed-driven sport determined by time, so it's not the silliest idea to wear these skin suits, No,
it's definitely faster, 100% faster.
Yeah, starting to look good. All the gear is so good now. So everything's just getting so much better. It's unreal.
I'd be terrified riding Fort William in general, but then riding it with just Lycra between me and those rocks at the top, there's no way I want to do that, man. Like,
I know, man. That track is unreal. It looks like it hasn't changed in like how many years? Like 20?
No, it hasn't. No.
But when we raced the top, they did the new top section, and then I think it's still the same. And that's like 10 years ago.
They changed it a little bit last year to the old one after they changed it, but they haven't changed it much.
It just looks flogged. Like, surely they could helicopter a bit more dirt in,
It looks brutal. I don't want to do anything with it.
Especially watching like Connor ride that enduro bike on it, but those things handled.
Poor guy.
Yeah, he handled it. Did a good job.
Speaking of Fort William, was that like after that result? Is that when you started getting noticed by teams? Because I see you went on to like Kenda Tomac and then
So after Fort Bill, when I got the fourth, I think I was like 0.2 off third and 0.6 off second. So it was like relatively close. So I didn't get a medal, pretty bummed. But after that, Sean Heimdall was talking about maybe me just doing getting on his team. I think he said it in passing, like to go back to Canada and race the Iron Horse, and do sort of like a monster Iron Horse thing in Canada, just solo, and do like pretty much what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I was, like after Fort Bill, we went to Maribor to do a World Cup just to finish the year off.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up getting like 26 or something as a junior. So me getting fourth and getting in the 20th, I think, or low 30s as a junior. I got noticed at that race, and that's when the Peter guy, he hit me up in the off season.
Okay.
So I was either do Canada again and sort of just do that deal, or he hit me up and said, the whole dream was to get to the World Cup. So to do Canada again, I was like, oh yeah, it could be good, build myself back up and then come World Cups when I can. And then he just hit me up and said, here's the deal, no money, but we'll just pay for everything.
Yeah,
and like at that point in time, I was like, oh my God, like, are you kidding? Like, how could you say no?
Yeah, 100%.
Full World Cup season, paid. Just that's the dream, isn't it? That's as soon as every kid's dream, just hearing that. And then, just after those races, just we did the deal, and I went to Kenda Tomac, which was super exciting, you know, on a full team, all the bikes you want, all the gear, all the spares, like just the support is huge, you know, when you get on a team like that. It's unreal, life-changing.
It would be, yeah.
Yeah, unreal.
Was it weird kind of adapting to that and, you know, having your bike washed and getting it all ready?
Yeah. No, it is a bit of a change, I think, for anyone like to come from just, you know, you washing your own bike, tinkering with it, just running the bike until it dies. That was my sort of forte. Not much maintenance. Run the tyres until they're bald, but just to change new tyres every run. You know, not every run, but let's say every day you sort of put a new set on, or just you didn't have to worry about anything when you were practicing, which was a big thing for me. Like, because I did break a fair bit of stuff practicing. So like a lot of chain guides, a lot of wheels, a lot of derailleurs, just bits and pieces. But yeah, it was a big change to even just get on these Tomac bikes, like to come off my Iron Horse that I've had for 2 years, unchanged, to go jump on this Tomac, which was a bit big for me. And I had like the Fox 40s, which were like so different compared to these boxes, you know, like, so it was a bit of a time to adjust, to be honest, like a bit weird. And I was like, oh no, not again, you know, flashbacks of like 06 on that Iron Horse with these Manitous.
PTSD.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what have I done? Like, not comfortable, full new environment. Like, I was committed to 6-7 months overseas. It was just like, all right, let's just run with it. And that year it's funny to say, that was like my first year on the World Cups, and that was my best year.
Yeah, it was.
that I had. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, you know. But, quite sad, really, when you think about it. But yeah, like it was pretty cool at the time. Like coming in and just being like, I wonder how I'm going to go. Like first race, all right, and then it just got snowballed. Like I just got better and better and better. Like a few top 10s, and then a couple like 15th, 14th, and then finished it off, I think, with Sladman with like a 9th.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was just like, that was the best track ever, and it was just huge to finish the year off like that, and it put me to like 15th overall, I think.
Yeah, right. That's pretty epic for your first year.
Yeah, first year on the World Cup, and end up like top 20, and then like being 15th. I was just like, man, how unreal is this? This is it. Like, where do you go from here? Like, I need to be top 10 now. You know, the hunger was there. Just what can I say? Like the following year, like obviously the Kenda Tomac team folded with the Tomac bike, but then we came back with the Kenda Morwood team, which tell me like that was like, you know, for me it was good because I came off the best year ever, and like I was coming in pretty hyped and just pretty amped for it all, and like the deal that I was on got better, and you know everything. Just I was sort of like feeling like, yeah, I've made it, you know, like super content, and I was like, I just want to do well. But then I guess, you know, you got to be careful what you wish for. Like, how do I say what's not to be said about the Kenda Morwood team? You know, like
I've heard some stories. But
yeah, we had first thing that comes to mind is we definitely had fun. Yeah, it was a good year of enjoying ourselves, and sort of it definitely wasn't the best the best way to do a race season, you know. It was it was interesting. We had Nigel Reece, I think, doing Rennie's mechanic, and then I had Maddie DePearl helping me, which was
sick,
awesome. You know, we had the best setup. Like me, Maddie, Nigel, and Rennie, like we all got along so well. Like had such a good time. Like everyone was real chirpy, like good times, and a lot of drinking. I will say that we sort of enjoyed ourselves a bit more than.
It'd almost be like illegal to be on a team with Rennie and not drink a lot.
Like, I know, yeah, it was a hard one because I think Rennie was, you know, he had just dominated for so many years. He was just killing it. I think he was like 7th overall the year before. Like, you know, he still had the speed, but like in my eyes, I don't know, it seemed like he was at the end of his career and he sort of like wasn't really there mentally, like didn't really want to be there, you know? Like, so as me being like the young, let's just say, like I looked up to him, you know, like how could you not? Like beast. And then like for me to be on the same team as this guy, I was like, far out. Like, I'm on the same team as Nathan Red. Like, how cool is this? Like for me.
That would have been epic.
Unreal. Kind of like a bit starstruck, you know? So I sort of, not saying, I just sort of like followed him, you know, like we all sort of followed each other. We all egged each other on with like going out and partying and enjoying ourselves. Like to drink during the week and stuff was a big no-no, but like, you know, we'd be having a few beers here and there and then it would turn into like a bit of a night, like staying in Morzine. We were meant to race, you know, ride bikes, get fit and then we ended up just partying like the whole week or two. Like,
yeah, I'm sure Nigel had nothing to do with that.
Nah. So it was good. It was an eye-opener, but yeah, it was a bit of a silly move on my part to sort of get fallen into that trap of sort of partying. And at the same time, I was still trying to perform well, but, you know, like to party that hard and then to come to World Cups is not the best prep. So that was kind of like my, I guess, not biggest regret in my riding years, but sort of I look back on that and I say that's an opportunity sort of missed.
But that team was like all types of weird, wasn't it? Like the management was kind of kooky and...
Yeah, I sort of had like, I think, Peter, he was good. He was good to me. Like I can't really say anything about anything negative really. Like he picked me up. He gave me the opportunity. Like I can't, you know, I'm not going to say like, oh, you know, how shit it was. But the opportunity I got for 2 years was just unreal in my eyes. It was just I think the team just sort of, it just didn't gel with Peter and the other guys, like some management issues. And, you know, I'm not really going to dive too deep into that. But like it did just fall apart. It sort of just got a bit negative and we sort of just got to the end of the year and it just sort of imploded, you know. And then like Rennie sort of quit. I think he retired pretty much that year. And then myself, you know, not having the best results. Like I think like I got a couple top 10s still, a couple top 20s, but you know, like that's kind of like where it went backwards for me.
Yeah.
Just rocking up and riding and just pulling these results off was lucky, but it wasn't getting me into like a better paid contract or a better team or anything progressive. Like we went backwards. And then I was at the end of the year left without a ride, you know, like that's just how quick things turn around. So then, yeah, we'll fight. And since after that year, we're sort of just fighting to get back into it.
Was there like is that the same team where it just all ended on one big boat ride?
Yeah,
correct.
I think we're coming back from Fort William or something, and we got the ferry, the overnighter, and we all decided that we partied so hard on that boat that like I think the funniest thing happened. Like we're all wearing our glasses, and everyone's decided that it's a glass, like everyone has to wear their glasses all night. And then when the boat took off the port there, everyone was just cheering and yelling, going, we can't get kicked off now, you know? And then it just escalated. We went into like where the bar is in there and everyone's just raving, partying, like real, and you're on the boat, like you shouldn't really be raving. And then everyone's just super wasted. And then one of them ends up in the infirmary, I think you call it on the boat, isn't it? Like we're in jail.
Yeah.
And then we lost one of them, and then just we had to get off the boat. You know, everyone's just haggard, like party, like we caused a ruckus. And then after that, no one really spoke to each other, and everyone sort of went their separate ways. You know,
that's blew up. That's insane.
I don't really want to just dive too deep into that, but it was a good night. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I've heard a few things, and it's like, well, shit. Yeah, I don't know how you guys got out of it so easy.
I know, yeah. We sort of partied and then we continued the party on afterwards. And then I think I can't really remember much after that. You know, it was sort of just a bit hazy, but we enjoyed ourselves. But that year was good, you know, it was a good learning curve to just come back and be like, that is definitely not the way you prepare for World Cups.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not.
I think the only weekend I didn't drink was before Maribor, and I got ninth.
That's a lesson to all the kids out there.
Yeah, just look after yourselves, I guess. So I was sort of caught up in the whole hype of being a professional downhill racer and going to the after parties and like the whole vibe of it all. It was a big vibe back then. I think that was the last couple of years of actual World Cup after parties, and that's what you looked forward to. If you did well at the race, even better, you get to party a bit harder.
Spend that winner's check. So did you head back over to Canada after that? Like, what kind of happened after that team folded?
That team folded, so it was kind of like a bit of a bummer. Like, we went hunting, but Matty Delfs sort of with his willpower, should I say, he sort of created this team with Pivot Cycles when they were about to build that new bike with the DW link. So he sort of got this team together, and that's when me and Will became teammates.
Yeah.
Will Rishbeth. So he sort of created this team out of nothing, and even like out of his own pocket, man, like you can't praise the guy enough. Like, just worked so hard to get sponsors, like all the contacts he used just to get me and Will and a few others, out and around on that Pivot team, like, was unreal. Like, man, can't believe what he did, and just I'll forever thank him for that opportunity just to get back out there in the World Cups. We didn't have the results we wanted. We did a few good ones. We always sort of sat like just inside the top 20 and just outside the top 20. It was like hovering around the 18th, the 15th, the 25th, just there, but not quite. Just enough to keep your name there, but not enough to cause any hype. It was a very frustrating sort of year and 2 years, and then ended up getting back on like Kona, I think. But the whole Matty thing, that was just unreal, like just to him to put it out. And we stayed at Will's auntie's in Geneva, like just for support. But we sort of went back to our roots, we slept in the vans, we drove around, we like had these pop-up tents, like instead of this huge setup with the Mercedes trucks and the vans to get around. Like, we sort of went back to the roots, and it was cool. Like, we had such a good time out there racing bikes, and just sort of back to where it all started,
I think that's like a vibe that Matty does really well. It's more about riding bikes and racing, right? Like,
exactly. Like, it's not the show, He's not a showman. He's just get down, get the job done, race well, get the pits. The bikes are running. Just as long as the bikes are running and the guys are okay, he's a happy dude.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, keep it simple, keep it professional. I think he would like.
And that's why Connor's been with him for so long, I think. It's like that
exactly,
attitude,
man.
and that just works.
That match works good. Yeah, Connor just booted me off the Kona team, but that's all good.
He didn't go anywhere, though. Like, just washed up. Was it pretty cool watching him come on, though, and start to take over the world?
Oh, mate, it was unreal. Like, because I was sort of, I guess you could say I was fighting my own demons out there. Like, I was getting a bit older and sort of struggling, and then to see like this Connor Fear, and I already knew him from the Aussie races.
Yeah.
But to see him come over and just completely be like, not like this new dude, but, like this young kid, like super shy, wouldn't speak. And then you got, like, I guess, like my personality is a bit stronger. Like me and Matty, like Matty's a quiet dude as well, but I like to like rile him up a little bit. But to have like Connor, this super shy guy, and I'm like trying to have this conversation with him, and he's like giving me one word answers. I'm like, what's going on here, man? Like, let's like give us something, But to see him grow from being this young dude who didn't know anything about diet, and I'll just tell a quick story. Like, we were in, I think we were at Wyndham for the first time with Connor coming in, and we went to this diner, and he just orders like this chocolate milkshake, pancake stack, all like the trimmings on it, like just absolute rubbish of a meal. And this is before like we're gonna like train for the do our training.
Yeah.
And it's this horrible meal, and Matty's just like in disgust, like, oh my God, man, you can't be eating that. Like, you've got to look after yourself. To just that kid that used to just not care, didn't know, to now like he's this ultra professional, athlete, diet, trains every day, just the transformation, even when I was racing with him, and how he was just getting better and better. Like he rocked up, he sort of had a couple struggle races, but then for him to turn it around within like that year or two, and then that second year, he just took off. Like started, feeling the groove. I guess like as you do, you get a few good results under your belt, you figure out what is needed in a World Cup run, how to push it, where to push it, the speed you need so you don't fall off. There's a big, it's a huge learning curve for these guys.
I mean, going full circle, like that's kind of what's missing at the moment for a lot of Aussie juniors is they don't have that exposure or that coaching towards that, I guess.
100%. Like they're going out there and they're just hoping that these guys are going to do well, like it just doesn't work like that. Like you need you do need a bit of guidance. Like that's what the junior team created. It created that guidance, like to rock up and, you don't have to figure it all out by yourself. Like you get a few hints, you get a few tips, you get a few bit of race cred, like it's a bit of a craft. And obviously like Troy Brosnan he's on another level. Like, as a junior, he just knew it straight away. He had that craft, like bang.
Oh yeah,
this
he
is
was
the speed
born
I need to do.
Yeah.
I don't even think I think his first accident he's had was at national champs where he hurt his ankle. Like that's the first stack I've seen him doing like ever.
No, he nearly died.
Yeah, his consistency is just insane.
Yeah, he did his spleen a few years ago, like proper.
Like
Yeah, he like nearly went out the door.
Yeah. But like his consistency is unreal. Like that's something for kids to aspire to, like that consistent, just fast run that he can do is just, that's next level. Like you can just click it off.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's always, like I've said this to a few people, but you watch him practice a race at like Oz Champs and then you watch him race and it's two completely different people.
Yeah, like just flicks it up a switch, like, I'll practice it like this, but in my race, I'm actually just going to go this quick.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's unreal. Yeah, they need just like the young kids, I guess. They just need a bit of a, not like an Aussie team, I guess. Like it would be cool to see it come back because it's awesome for people to come together, all like-minded, all want to ride bikes and just race. It's just like they need a bit more, like at these World Cups, like Australia just needs to sort of like get like sort of a setup going or a bit of a coach, but not so much just as full on as probably what we had.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Well, really, they just need to get bigger teams, so they can afford these juniors. Like, look at Jackson Goldstein. Like,
fuck yeah.
Jesus,
yeah, dude.
I've seen him at Whistler when he was like, I think he was like 6 or something, riding a tiny little bike, doing the airs. He was already a superstar.
Oh, dude, he's the golden child of mountain biking.
Oh, 100%. It's showing now.
One of the first like viral sensations in the sport, and now he's
I know. Yeah. So he was just destined for it. He had the right location. He had everything, man. Like he had everything going for him, and just the support he's been picked up in. Like imagine being on Santa Cruz Syndicate as like a first year junior or whatever he was on.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Insane.
But that's what like the teams need, I suppose. They just need a bit more support, like to be able to support these juniors. Like I think the Pivot team have got a few juniors. Just need to like.
They're always helping out. Yeah, Pivot's always helping out.
Yeah, and it's unreal with the World Cups how they've separated it. I think that's an awesome idea. You get the acknowledgement, like, oh, I got 5th in juniors instead of I got 50th.
I think they're even like televising juniors next year. It's a rumor I've heard, which would be epic. It'd be
that's
huge.
A good idea. It'd be cool to watch the juniors because you'd be able to see them because they'll get all straps like hell. I reckon they'll get on the edge a bit more than the pros.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. But we do have some really quick juniors coming up at the moment, like the Luke, the Mike Smiths, and there's a bunch of people coming up. And I think next year we'll see it.
Awesome to see. Yeah, I think that was it Luke that got 6 at Andorra, sorry.
He got 6th at Worlds, Leger.
Yeah, and then I think he just missed the podium at Andorra or something this year.
At Valdi Hoel, I think. He's been like up there so much. He's only lost 2 stages now in the EWS. Like in every race he's competed in, he's only lost 2 stages.
Unreal.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Oh, it's good to see. Good to hear.
You did you see was Stevie Smith a part of your team and stuff at as well throughout that time?
Steve Smith, as in the big dog Canadian.
Yeah.
Well, he was a junior when I was in Bromont. He was a junior. He's the same age as me. Yeah.
Oh, really?
So we were racing together.
Yeah, right.
And when I first went to Bromont, like the first race that was on, and I rocked up and I'm like this Aussie dude in this Quebec. We're doing this Quebec Cup, and that's when Stevie was on Cove. And I knew Stevie's name just as a junior as well. And I was like, man, I've heard this dude's pretty good. Like just in the pit.
Yeah.
So we were doing the race and didn't really hang out with him that much that weekend, but we did the race and I had a killer run and I was like, yeah, feel good. And then he just come and smashed everyone by 8 seconds, absolutely annihilated it. And that's since then I was like, whoa. But, what's not to say about Stevie Smith? He's a good friend. And, yeah, it was a sad day to see what happened there. But he helped me out heaps as well. When I was on the Kona team, I think for the second year, and I was at home and I was racing the World Cups, became really good friends with him, Brooke and me, Strobel, and sort of that crew. We sort of became real close friends.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sick.
So yeah, I one year I hit Stevie up and I was like, man, I'm in Australia, there's not much riding going on. What's the chances of me coming over and just living with you for a month or two before the season?
Yeah.
I think this was 2012.
Okay.
I think this is the year that he just absolutely took off.
Yeah.
I think it was 2012 where he took off. I think where he won it. But yeah, I got the opportunity to live at his house for 2 months, and him and his missus put us in, and we went enduro riding. We went riding every day. Went riding with Darren Berkloff.
Yeah, sick.
Totally hanging out. I just immersed myself in his life pretty much. I literally copied everything he did. We rode Prevost. I took his training. He had this guy, Red Bull were hooking him up with the training guy, paying for it all. And I was just sort of in the background, copying him, doing all the reps and pushing the same weight, just trying to copy everything he's done. But obviously him and that Mount Prevost, I was trying to ride behind him and just watching him ride, and him just taking off, man. And that, I think Prevost's 6 minutes long. So I've come from a minute and a half of sort of technical track to sort of a bit, let's just say a bit more fast paced, bit bigger of a hill. It was 6 minute runs. So by the time I hit 3 minutes or 4 minutes, my hands were toast. I was God damn it. How am I gonna chase this guy down? And seeing him just disappear was just, he was on another level that year. He just took off, man. It was so good to see, and it was so good to actually be a part of watching him do it, just dominate that year as well. And yeah, it was unreal, man. He's the nicest dude ever, and I can't believe I got that opportunity to hang out and sort of see how he did it, which was epic. I can't really, just thinking back on it now, far out, what a time.
That would have been sick. Yeah.
Yeah. And him just, him helping me, I'm helping him, we're just hanging out. He's a good dude. He's just the nicest guy. And him, telling me a few tricks and things, what he's been doing and, how he's riding. A big one, because our tracks are so short and compact, I always had my head down and I sort of kept looking at my front tire. So when I was riding his tracks, things were coming up a bit quicker. And I was like, man, telling him, just trying to figure out stuff to get better. And then he was like, man, just lift your head and just look well far ahead on these type of tracks. And just ever since then, that's a big tip I got from Steve. It sounds super basic and easy. I should have known that, but just riding these different tracks and then him just telling me, and that sort of helped me, it's unreal. What a guy to tip. I'm his competitor essentially.
Yeah.
But he was on another level, I was a little bit further back than him.
Just a bit.
Yeah. He was happy to help me because I was so far back.
He wanted you to get up into those top 30s, man. He wanted you.
He wanted us on the podium.
Is that when you started to kind of wind back from bikes a little bit? It seems you
2012, 2013, I was sort of, I guess you could say, the last years on the Evil.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had 1 year on the Evil. Oh, man, I can't. But, yeah, like before the Evil deal come around, I was already sort of at home having like a few thoughts of just packing it in and staying home and like figuring out what I was going to do next. You know, I was quite young still, and I said, I could probably get like 3 or 4 more years out of this, like get on a team and just do the whole loop again and then end up back home with like nothing, sort of just do this continuous loop. Like, sounds good in theory, but at one point I was sort of feeling a bit down about it all, and I was like, you know, like, what do I do, you know? And then just like I didn't even ride my bike pretty much the whole summer of the year before Evil. Like after I got kicked off owner, I was kind of like, what am I doing? Like, you know, what's going on here? Had a bit of time away from bikes, and then at the last second I was like, all right, I'll do another year. Like, you know, like how you just like super unprepared. I was like, oh man, I don't know. Like sort of my mind wasn't there. It was a bit of a bummer, but yeah, I was feeling a bit down on it all, and like speaking to my parents, like, you know, what should I do here? Like, how do we go about this? And then the last second, I was like, I'm going to pull the trigger. I'm going to go. So literally got the Evil deal done.
Yeah.
Signed it, got the bike, rode like, let's say, a month, maybe, not even. Went over to Fort Bill, and then just super unfit, like just so unprepared. And I was like, oh no, what have I done? And I ended up getting like 18th in that race. So for me, just to come off the bike, no bike time, no training, just do that and come 18th, sort of like spruced me back up a bit. I was like, I can do this. Like, if I just put time in and just do this and this and this, I can just do it. And then, Evil was a good year. Like, we had a good time. We had a few good results. It was a good bike. Just, I guess, like the company itself was a bit of a bummer towards me, but I enjoyed it. And then traveling with Luke Strobel as well, that was awesome. You know,
that was sick.
Like, it seemed like the last couple of years I was racing, we always had such good teammates. It was always like just hanging out with friends, riding bike. It was never like a big team mentality. It was just like hanging out. You know, I'll go to his house and stay at his house in Seattle, and like would ride bikes and just hang out. Like it was like being on a, what's the word? You know, a bit of a holiday, but you kind of have to be serious at the same time.
Yeah. That's the kind of attitude I think most people want as well, right? Like you don't want to be in those big teams that are full corporate and everything like that.
Sounds so funny, and like being these big teams. Like, man, it would be good to be in these big teams, get the big paycheck, and race the bikes. But the reality is, you know, not everyone's making good money out there. You know, we're sort of we're enjoying ourselves, and we're getting the job done, and we're racing World Cups. Like, how, you know, what more could you want? You know, you got to like reel it back a bit. But that year was that was my last year, I think, with the Evil, and then I went to Whistler and ended up just racing the bike and sort of, you know, enjoying myself a bit. And in my head, I was like, already knew I was gonna sort of pull the pin.
Bow out.
So I was at Whistler, I was sort of just enjoying myself, and ended up doing that Canadian Open. And I was up the top with like Win Masters. There was like Brooke, I think, there, and there's a couple other lads like Strobel and like. Yeah. And that's when Heckle Rock was still there. Yeah. Where you couldn't wear a shirt.
Yeah.
So you get the chairlift up, and everyone's just hollering like, "Whoa!" Like you're getting the chairlift up, and you're just getting yelled at, like more so than you're riding. You know, you're just like, "Whoa, how crazy is this?" I can't believe they got rid of that. Like, honestly, just saying.
I think the last year they did it was pretty ruthless.
Oh man, that was the best thing ever. Seeing people with the chainsaw, the chicks like with the bras out, like the dudes just going bananas. You just like, this is rock star mountain bike riding. Like, this is insane.
Also, like riding into that, like knowing that was coming
up. It was crazy. Like, you're coming through the woods, and then you just, before you hit I think there was a big jump onto the section, the rock, and you're coming out of the woods, and you just hear, and you can't, epic feeling. And then at the top of that run, it was like me, Win, and all that were talking. And we were like, I think years ago I did like this finger point. I can't can't remember what year that was. I think that was '09.
Yeah.
Did this big finger point to the crowd on the big jump, like the big sender in. So that got like a good picture. You know, it was all about the coverage back then, like trying to get a few pictures, get in the magazines. And then at the end of that, I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to win this race. So what am I going to do that can get me a bit of a picture, a bit of coverage? And, you know, that's what it was all about, a bit of coverage. And then as I was riding in the first couple sections, I like stacked it in like this tree and hit a tree and stopped. So I was like, instantly, I was like, well, there's me race. It's done. Yeah. So what am I going to do now? So I come putting in, hit the big Buddha, land, and then just threw my bike on the ground, drop a knee, got given a beer funnel from the crowd. Dropped the knee and sat there and smashed the funnel during my race run.
Oh, shit.
I finished that and I was just like, oh, man, like full of beer. I got all beer in my goggles.
Yeah.
Whack, you know, tried to mosey on down the hill, just like full, trying to get down and save my life, really. It was so hard. I was feeling like all a bit weird from it, and it was so funny, man. And then oh God, I ended up getting the front page of the Whistler, like the Whistler Times, dropping me, doing the funnel at Heckler Rock.
They should have just given you a citizenship at that point.
I know. I was like, what do I get for that?
That's ridiculous.
It was so funny. Yeah, that was a funny race. And then sad
what a way to go out.
It was a way to go out for myself. And then the next day we went and rode Ride Don't Slide, I think, up at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I fell off, busted. My foot got caught in a root and then just like pretty much tore all my ligaments in my ankle. And damn, like that was it, done.
Disgusting.
Bang, I had to like fly home and rehab that for like a good 6-8 months and missed out the rest of the year, obviously. And then that was it. That was the decision was made for me pretty much.
Yeah, because that's a bad injury. Like that's a real bad injury.
That was easily the worst one I've had. It was just like, it was just poor timing and everything. I was just like, you're kidding. Like, because I was really looking forward to finishing the year at Norway because it was such a good track and I'd done like well before. And I was looking forward to just doing well and finishing up. But then just to bust myself, I was like, oh, there you go. There's the writings on the wall. Pack it in. Went home and tried to sort out a few things, yeah.
What was the transition? Like there's been a few people who have done it quite well and then there's been people that have really struggled with it. Was it?
Yeah, it was different. You know, it's a totally different setting, really, isn't it? Like coming home and just being home, like immersing yourself back into society, really. Like it's a bit of a, what do you call it? A bit of a game changer, really, with, like, I guess people were doing it for a long, long time. Like I only had probably like 10 years. I guess that's a long time, actually.
That is solid. Yeah.
It was a good stint. It was a big part of my life. And then for me to finish like that, I sort of almost finished. I was like, like felt like I didn't do what I really wanted to do. And then sort of resentment come in and then happy. And then I was like, what do I do now? Happy that I was just home, but kind of like wishing I was over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up just like pretty much putting the bike in the garage and not looking at it for like a year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, didn't even touch it. I ended up selling my bike, actually, yeah. And then I didn't even have a bike. Didn't even own a bike for a good year, I reckon. Just put it away and just got the opportunity of a lifetime, got my trade and just worked for that, really, and just sort of hang out with the lads and just turned into a bit of a, I guess, a local.
Yeah. Just in the high vis and working on electrics and.
Oh, I know, yeah. Just and then like it was funny because I wouldn't like really tell anyone like what I was doing before. I was kind of like, oh yeah, I was just riding bikes, just hanging out, sort of. And then I was like, yeah, like you wouldn't just go and be like, oh yeah, you know, I was racing roller car, blah blah. And then just doing this. It was a bit hard to like sort of tell people, but then after a while, like, you know, as you do as a tradie, you're on a job site, you got to talk and you just start, you got to yarn the whole day. You got 8 hours with this guy, like you got to talk.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it was good to like reminisce on it sometimes, like talk about it and like get into it, like change the whole mindset of I guess not the missing out part, but sort of like you let the opportunity go.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, it was good. I'm fully settled with it now, like just to let it go. And it was so fun at the time. Like I look back now and I'm so happy that I did it and how I did it.
Yeah.
Everything about it, like just the best experiences of my life. Like, you just won't forget that stuff. But, life has changed, life moves on, and, you look forward to all these other things. You've got other goals in life now. Like, I've sort of really put as much work as I did into bikes as into my career, and like I'm super happy where I got to and how it sort of ended out, really, to be honest.
Hey man, there's no way you'd be catching a helicopter to work every day if you're riding bikes still.
Yeah, so it was a good change of pace, as you'd say, But in saying that now, like, yeah, when I sold all my bikes, I was like super just like, oh man, never going to ride again. Like, so over it. And then a good friend of mine, like Dave Long, started that Empire Cycles. And we went there and we went to the opening. I was like, how awesome is this? Like, because he used to run highway cycles, which back in the day in WA was just insane, like everyone wanted to ride for him. It was just like they had the Highway Cup, the biggest race of the year. Like, that's the whole vibe was pumping. Dave was all about it. And then he's just built this bike shop, and Empire Cycles, like the whole vibe it creates is just unreal, man. It's like everyone's frothing. Like he does the jerseys, he does all the shirts. It creates like a bit of a vibe, everyone's into it again. Like, Cut Empire, like it's like the old highway days for me, And he's got the shop and I'm out there in the opening and he's like, oh, we're going to have to get you back on a bike. And I was like, oh, yeah, not too fast. And then he's literally just like grabbed a bike, threw it in my car and just goes, yeah, don't worry about it and just sort me out later. And I was like, far out. Like, what do you mean? Like, literally forced it on me he's just like, hey, out this, man. Like, we've got to get you back on the bike. Like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, man, this is unreal. And then, it just ignited a switch again, like sort of rode that bike for a good year. And then I got like a new bike and just all of a sudden I'm just like absolutely loving it again. Like, I can't get enough, to be honest. Like racing again with all the guys, like making a weekend of it, getting back into the peel. Like the whole vibe is just blowing up. Like just got a caravan, so I'm just trying to take that every weekend. Like, let's go. Just back where it all started, really. And I can't really thank David enough to just ignite that fire again. And I'm like just loving the bikes. I'm loving like how good everything's gotten, like the suspension.
Oh, dude, yeah.
They're just unreal pieces of kit now.
Your enduro bike probably handles just as well as your original Tomac.
I reckon the bike I'm on right now is better than any of my downhill bikes. Just the way it I feel so comfortable. And the funniest thing, like I've gone on to clips, so I was all flats. I was, that whole era of flats is the best. Like
you
clips.
You grew up with Sam Hill, like you'd have to.
I know. So for me to like change, let's say like everyone's like flats is so good, like clips are for gay, just like that classic banter. But then now I've like put the clips on, I've started riding them, and I've had them ever since, like probably for the last year and a bit. And I reckon my riding, I feel so much better than I ever did with flats on.
Clips in the future.
I'll probably get shot by everyone in WA, but like for me, I can't believe how good I feel on the bike with these clips.
Oh.
You don't have to worry about your feet.
Sam Hill would have been way better. He probably would have won way more if he had clips on.
You can not say that.
I'm gonna have a crew of people waiting out my door.
Oh man, pitchforks and all, eh?
No, it's kind of funny. Like he did it. He did it really well, obviously. I can't remember. It's been said that he ruined an entire generation of mountain bikers in Australia because no one wanted to ride clips and no one could actually ride flats.
I 100% agree, man. Like I reckon he's like he didn't think about it, but he's actually changed, like, let's say the last 10 years of mountain biking with the way people run flats in Australia. 100%.
Yeah.
Like that whole flats, foot out, flat out sort of scenario, like everything about that. That's got to be down to him for sure.
He should be getting like royalties from every flat pedal ever made, really.
Oh man, he should have been getting royalties from every bike part that he had. I reckon anything that touched his bike, everyone wanted.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Like in WA and in the world, like he should have just been raking handlebars, bikes, stems, pedal screws.
Everything. He did everything. Ridiculous.
Yeah, pretty cool. But yeah, I reckon, I don't know what it is about these clips, but just something about just letting your feet just sit there and doing, like, you don't have to worry about them. And you just
it's amazing.
You're always in this like perfect position. But yeah, I reckon like my riding's just gotten way better because of it. Like, I don't know, people will bag me out, but I can't, I can't really bag them out. They're just unreal.
100%. I'm the same. Like, you just hop on, clip your feet in, and go forward. Like, you don't have to worry about them.
The only downside is when you stop off at the brewery in town, like you're just walking around, it sounds like you got horse feet on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the one downside, I guess. But
you gotta get them off real quick.
Yeah, I've always got a spare pair in my car. Might start wrapping things up a little bit here, but I saw you had an entry for national champs this year, but you didn't start.
Yeah, well, like I said, man, I've been really loving the racing and get back into it, and I just thought, man, why don't I just do like national champs again?
Yeah,
I feel that good. I want to see if I can get like a top 10 or something. And then booked the ticket, ready to go. And like WA had that COVID, super gnarly with COVID, and they weren't telling us when they were going to let us back in, or they had like a bit of a scare. And I was like, man, I can't really get stuck over there for like work reasons.
Yeah.
So I was super bummed. I wish I just pulled the trigger and went. Like, me and my missus had the tickets there. I was looking forward to it so much. And now I don't think national champs is at Hobart anymore. Is that right?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, so no. I really wanted to get and see Maydena as well. So it was like a win-win, and just such a bummer, man. Like, they changed the rules last second. I was on the fence, and I wanted to race it and verse all the top dogs and have a bit of fun again, a bit of high-pressure racing at national level.
It would have been sick.
I love it. Yeah. See what all these young kids are about.
Yeah, they're pretty
Maybe
damn
even get back on the World Cup.
That's a big call.
Big call. So I'll have to just ring up Matty and see if he's got a spot for me.
Yeah, you should have something somewhere, right? He's got two teams now. You could go race enduro with Sam.
Yeah. I'm not that fit. I'm a downhill guy through and through.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I love the downhill. The enduro is epic, though. It's like having like 7 downhill races in one day.
And you don't have to wait around for 7 hours.
I know. They should downhill should take a leaf out of the enduro book and just, make it a one-day event, and you just rock up, smash runs, do your run, and then you're out of there.
Yeah, that'd be pretty rad.
One-day event, because these guys are that good. They don't need 4 days of practice.
No, they don't. No.
They don't. Give them three or 4 runs and then get them to race.
There was a bunch of people took like one day off at nationals because it was too many days of practice and was just going to get flogged.
It's always the same. Like, why do they give so much practice? I've always thought that. I'm like, after the first day, I reckon 4th or 5th run, let's just say you are ready to go. Surely.
Yeah, nothing changes.
Nothing changes. The track will deteriorate, but if it's a one-day event, it's the same track when you start and when you.
Be fun.
It could be something, or they could take a leaf out of the motocross and do the 2 races in one day and points and do an overall.
Well, there are some races I've seen. I can't remember who it was, but they do like best of 2 or combined of 2, and
that's awesome.
Like that. Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Chance and more racing, more footage, more coverage. Like, as a spectator, like, I've been watching the World Cups, I've been loving it. But like more, they need more races in a year. Like 7 races in 1 year. That's not a series.
No,
make it like bullshit. 15.
Yeah, and maybe recognise the Southern Hemisphere and come down here.
Exactly. Give some of these Australian guys a go.
Yeah, because they'd smash it. Yeah.
It's maybe pretty much a European national series.
Yeah, it's a Euro series. 100%.
Exactly. Always has been, always will be. It's a bummer.
Oh, it will change one day, I think.
One day we'll get there. It will be pumping Olympics. Here we come.
always like to finish off with kind of three main questions. First one being, what advice would you have to anyone that wants to get out and race World Cups and take the sport more seriously?
Well, I think the sport's already gotten a bit more serious, but my biggest advice would be just just keep on keeping on. It's gonna happen. You're gonna have the worst races of your life, and you're gonna have the best races. I reckon. Just keep on putting the work in. Everyone probably says that, but everyone already puts the work in. So just keep on keeping on, keep on trucking. Really.
Yeah, just keep working at it. And is there anything you regretted or would have changed up till now?
Regret. I definitely would regret 2009. That's my biggest probably regret of the racing career. But realistically speaking, how it's all panned out and how where I am now, I can't really regret partying too hard or enjoying myself, because that was just the era that I was in. It just was, we were the PDs, the Rennies, everything. It was just all about having a good time and good fun. And I was just at the tail end of it all. But regret, it was too much fun to be had, and I enjoyed it and would never. I don't think I'll change it.
Yeah, it's too much. That would have been
too many good people. Met, the whole thing was epic. How could you not enjoy it?
And last question is always the hardest for most people. But if you got to get motivated, or you don't want to head out to work, or you got to head out for a training ride or something, is there any music or anything that you can't listen to, or what amps you up when you want to get motivated?
I'm a sucker for some drum and bass, to be honest.
Yeah, okay.
Bit of Wilkinson. Back in the day, it was like Ronnie Size, I think Sub Focus. How could you not, man? That stuff just gets you going.
Is that a Nigel Reeves influence there, you reckon?
It's funny you say that, because, I reckon growing up in Margs is a big drum and bass thing in here. And when I went over there and listened to the music and he was into that stuff, it was just like, yeah, boy, just the full high tempo bass. I can imagine him listening to that, doing the work on Rennie's bike, getting it done in 20 minutes.
Oh, dude. Yeah, he's probably still doing it in his workshop in Tassie, just full party boy mode.
Yeah, he loves it. Rave out in the workshop.
He's got his own workshop now. He's just disco ball lights and smoke machine in there.
It's actually 100%. Just a fake. It's a front just for raves.
Just his own rave club at Maydena.
What a machine. Can't wait to get to Maydena and catch up with him.
Oh, dude, you got to get down there. I can't believe I haven't been.
I know. It's soon to be had. I am booking trips as we speak, pretty much.
Sick.
Love it. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, mountain biking's in a good spot. I can't wait to see what happens in the next 5 years.
Oh, dude, it's going to be epic. It's going to be huge.
Yeah. It's a good time to come back.
Yeah, you timed it well. You went out in the lull, and now you've come back and it's peaking again.
It's good to see. I'm really enjoying watching the World Cups, watching all the juniors. I'm watching the juniors in Margaret River as well. We've got a young girl that's going to kill it, and just being a part of it now. I can't wait.
Sick. No better note to end on. Thanks so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. It was a good chat.
Yeah, it was great. Hopefully we'll see you out at an event at some point.
Yeah, hopefully. I'll be dark horse.
Yeah, dark horse to the podium.
Dark horse, hopefully, yeah. But I can't wait to hopefully get to one of these races and catch up with everyone.
Yeah, man. Easy. Thanks so much,
awesome.
mate. We'll speak again soon.
Have a good one.
You too, man. Bye. Thanks for listening to that one, you absolute legends. I hope you enjoyed all the stories that Mitch had to talk about. Some sound advice, and man, even after you finish World Cup racing, you can do some pretty rad stuff. So it's cool to see him doing his thing and enjoying his life. As per usual, thank you so much to all our supporters: Trek, NS Dynamics, Taylor Trails, Lead Out Sports, Franked, Dirt Surfer, Crush, or Fist. Thanks so much for keeping the podcast running. If you want to support our supporters, make sure you use the code Beyond the Tape or Beyond the Tape 10 at checkout, depending on which one you're using. Tell your mum, tell your dad, tell your dog, tell your next door neighbor about the podcast, share it around. And jump over to the website and buy some merch. Help us kind of keep this thing running. Anyway, until the next one, go out and have a bunch of fun.